Welcome to this week's edition of the Oakley Sports Report. I'm your host, Sean Doherty, and as always, it is my pleasure to bring to you, the Bear Cub faithful, all of your sports scores and news from the previous week, as well as what to expect from the week ahead. This week's show will check in with men's and women's basketball teams in their playoff drives, men's baseball and women's softball and what's happening on the diamonds. Also, we will check in with the men's golf team as they continue their strong season, and all your other Bear Cub sports. So let's get things going with an update on women's tennis. The women's tennis team has started out strong so far. Last week, the Bear Cubs opened up the conference play after starting the season 3-0 and took on Sierra here at the JC. Unfortunately, they were dropped by a score of 4-5 in their first conference match, but then on Friday, traveled to Concord to take on conference rival Diablo Valley and crushed DVC by a score of 8-1 to pick up their first conference win of the season. The Bear Cubs are now in full swing in the conference schedule, and this week we'll take on Shasta here at the JC on Tuesday the 28th, and then we'll travel to Sacramento on Friday, March 2nd to take on Folsom Lake. The men's tennis team as well have a 1-1 conference record. However, they are only 2-3 overall on the season. Last week, the men also took on Sierra here at the JC and lost 8-1. But like the women's team, came back on Friday to take on DVC and won that match 9-0. And this week, the women take on Shasta here at the JC and then travel to Sacramento to take on Folsom Lake on Friday. To the links, where the Bear Cubs golf team has been playing exceptionally well this season, and last week had their first Big 8 conference tournament, which was held in Stockton. The Bear Cubs finished second behind FLC and shot an overall score of 382, which was just 7 strokes behind FLC. Then on Thursday, the Bear Cubs had a practice match in Windsor and shot a 383. The Bear Cubs golf team has only shot over 400 once this season, and when they did, they finished first in their Valentine's Day match against Sierra in Roseville. Bear Cub golf has been steady all season long, and if they continue to shoot under 400 on a consistent basis, they should have a very successful season. Up next for the golf team is the second Big 8 tournament, which is being held in Sacramento on the 28th at 11 a.m. On the diamond, the Bear Cubs softball team has had a season of up and down, it seems, and currently hold an 8-5 record. On Saturday, they hosted a doubleheader against Foothill and Butte. The Bear Cubs softball team split the doubleheader, winning the first against Foothill 4-3, and then being dropped by Butte by a score of 3-4. This week, the Bear Cubs softball team takes on Napa here at the JC on Tuesday, and then over the weekend heads to Fresno for the Bash tournament. We want to wish the Bear Cubs softball team the best of luck and hope that they place high in that tournament. Bear Cubs baseball seems to be playing games where they win a few in a row, lose a few in a row, and then win a few in a row. The Bear Cubs open up the season winning 5 straight and then losing the next 4 and are currently on a 2-game winning streak. Last week, the boys traveled to Suisun City to take on Solano on Thursday and lost by a score of 11-4. Then the following day, came back home to take on Feather River and won by a score of 3-1. Then on Saturday, the Bear Cubs host Solano, and the Bats came alive with a 14-2 victory. This week, the Bear Cubs only have 1 game on the schedule, where they host Contra Costa on Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. The next week, we'll pick up with 3 games on the schedule. In the water, both the men's and women's swimming teams are swimming like Bear Cubs chasing salmon upstream. The men's team is undefeated on the season at 4-0, and the women's team is at 3-1. The men's team placed first in the NorCal Relays, while the women placed second. Last week, both teams participated in a non-scoring event called the Las Positas Invitational. And up next for both teams is the Cuesta Invitational, which takes place on March 9th and 10th. And last but certainly not least, we go to the basketball court in the CCCAA basketball tournament, which both the men's and women's teams are currently involved in. The women's team came in as the 5 seed into the tournament and secured a first-round bye, and in their first game took on the 13th Chabot here at the JC over the weekend on Saturday night. Coach Lacey Campbell had the team well prepared, and the Bear Cubs put on a defensive showing, defeating Chabot by a score of 54-39, and have moved on to the third round of the tournament to take on the 4 seed Ohlone Wednesday, February 29th in Fremont at 7 p.m. This would be a huge upset for the Bear Cubs basketball team, and we wish the Bear Cubs the best of luck and certainly hope the tournament doesn't end on Wednesday night. The men's basketball team, rated as the 3 seed, also had a first-round bye and took on Saturday night the number 12 seed Feather River, and in overtime won by a score of 84-81 to advance to the third round of the CCCAA playoffs, where they'll take on conference rival Cosumnes River, who upset the 6 seed Ohlone by a score of 82-62. That game will take place here at the JC Wednesday, the 29th at 7 p.m. The winner of this game will then take on the winner of the 2/7 seed game between Las Positas and Yuba. The road only gets tougher for the Bear Cubs from this point on, so come out and show your Bear Cub pride and help root the boys on to a berth in the semifinals. The Oakley Sports Report would like to wish both the men's and women's Bear Cub basketball teams the best of luck on Wednesday night. That's it for this edition of the Oakley Sports Report. I'm your host, Sean Doherty, and as always, it is my pleasure to bring to you the Bear Cub faithful, the latest from Bear Cub Athletics. Join us next time as we will hopefully be talking about both of our basketball teams going to the CCCAA Final Four. Go Bear Cubs!